Welcome UTC students to the final broadcast of the 2022 spring semester.
Stick around and hear about the local event full of African cuisine, as well as sneak peek into UTC's outdoor program.
I'm Ryan Brooks.
And I'm Caleb Figures. Your news starts now. Tennessee will become the latest state to impose harsh penalties on doctors who violate new regulations dictating the dispensing of abortion pills. The proposal is headed to Republican Governor Bill Lee's desk. It mirrors similar legislation introduced in Republican-controlled states seeking to clamp down on medication abortion access.
The governor of Tennessee called off the execution of the state's oldest death row inmate hours before execution was supposed to take place. 72-year-old Oscar Smith was scheduled to die last night from a lethal injection. He killed his wife and two of her teenage sons in 1989. Officials said there was an oversight in the preparation for the execution.
Last Wednesday, UTC had their first worship night at Chamberlain. Our Ryan Brooks has the story.
I'll sing through the night, and oh God, the battle belongs to you. I'll raise a hallelujah in the presence of my enemies. I'll raise a hallelujah.
UTC pulled off their first worship night this week with quite the turnout from our very own UTC students. They joined together in songs of harmony and enjoyed the company of their peers, while music was rendered to them in such a moving atmosphere. William McKellier, who is a student here on campus, taught a word from his heart Wednesday night and put this worship night together so all students would be able to come together who share the same beliefs.
For a long time, I think I struggled with things that a lot of people struggle with in this world. Mental stuff, as well as tension in my family and friends and stuff around. And it was really the only thing that I found that really changed my life was when I started to get serious about reading God's Word. And since then, I've just tried to, my entire life really has been centered around church. And that has simply been the most impactful thing in my entire life.
UTC continues to excel in building students so that more students will have the opportunity to grow.
This has been awesome. We talked about this for months, and I think we just wanted to say, we wanted to let students know, hey, this is what we believe, right? The university is a place where we come and talk about our beliefs, so we wanted to say, hey, this is what we believe, and we want to share that with you all. So to see this many people out here who have that same thought and that place in their heart has been extremely encouraging.
This has been Ryan Brooks with Mocs News.
Recently, the Department of History and Africana Studies held an event where African American speakers talked about their history with food.
One of the speakers was CHOP champion Kenyatta Ashford. Marlon Carter and Timothy McCary have the story.
The event was held in the UC's Chattanooga room. The speakers talked about their family history and how it tied with Southern food. Speaker Nicole Brown talked about how she got into Southern food.
So my dad really kind of showed me some things on how to cook, and he was a delicious cook. He was one of the chefs many years ago at New York University, and so he came back to Chattanooga, his hometown, and taught me some things in the kitchen.
Fellow speaker Ashford also talked about how he got into cooking.
Being born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana, pretty much when we ate breakfast, we talked about lunch, and when we ate lunch, we talked about dinner. So food was central to my existence growing up in New Orleans.
He also talked about how the famous dish of beans and rice came from African American traditions in New Orleans. This event really shows the connection between the history of African Americans and Southern food.
Did you see the Black Hawk helicopter flying over UTC this week? They came to campus Thursday and gave folks a brief ride over Chattanooga. Staff, faculty, and RTC members all got to take flight with the Army's best. The visit from the Black Hawks lasted about an hour. We had some beautiful spring weather lately, but that is about to change.
Here's Chauncey Figures with the answer.
It's looking like we have a warm and sunny weekend ahead. Temperatures could rise to a potential high of 84 degrees on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday with sunny or partly cloudy weather conditions. The pattern will continue to break on Tuesday. There will be a 90% chance of rain and temperature could drop to a low of 50 degrees. But it won't last by Wednesday. Weather conditions will be sunny again and things will stay that way for the rest of the week ahead. Next weekend, temperatures will be back up to a potential high of 81 degrees. Looks like summer weather has come early. Caleb and Ryan, back to you.
Are you familiar with UTC Outdoors?
Janie Bowles gives us a closer look at the program that our university has to offer.
My name is Abby Moore. I am a senior here at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. I am a SORT major, so that is like maybe the main reason why I decided to work at UTC Outdoors. Is outdoor recreation is my passion, and the main philosophy of UTC Outdoors is to be able to get the students of UTC outside, so connecting you with the outdoors.
So as a kid, growing up, I wasn't really outdoorsy. But when I came to Chattanooga for school, everything just seemed so green, so naturey. So yeah, it kind of like fit in really well with who I am now.
A few of my favorite places in Chattanooga to be outside and just experience nature. One of them would have to be the Riverwalk, especially since it's so close to my house. Living right next to campus and living right next to downtown is just super awesome. And the Riverwalk is really accessible. It just makes it really easy and almost encouraging to get out there. It's like kind of no excuse to get outside and at least go on a walk. So I'm really glad that that is right there and so accessible to so many people.
UTC Outdoors has a lot to offer, ranging from trips to gear. Some of the gear that we offer here at UTC Outdoors is sleeping bags, sleeping pads, backpacking backpacks, day packs, crash pads, Coleman stoves, mountain bikes, commuter bikes, snowboards. We have a full working bike shop if you need any bike repairs. We also offer a large whitewater program, which includes flatwater kayaking, ranging all the way to whitewater kayaking, rafting, as well as stand-up paddleboards.
Both students and faculty competed for cash prizes in the fly competitions. They presented for 2 days at the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. The student winner talked about Baby Flicks, which would be a reactive doll to train occupational therapy students on how to test for baby reflexes.
Infant reflexes. We've all experienced them. When you've placed your finger in an infant's palm and they grasp it so cutely, when you strike the side of their cheek and they turn their head looking for the source. These reflexes, along with many others, exist to help the newborn navigate their new environment in the world, as well as help them protect them for survival. However, they're supposed to integrate as the infant grows, but sometimes they stay, and that can cause more problems later in life, such as poor posture, poor difficulties with handwriting, poor vision and balance. The list goes on and on. Healthcare providers are educated in these reflexes. My name is Caitlin Cabbins, and as an occupational therapy student, I learned these reflexes so that I can test for them in my patients, as well as treat them if necessary. There's only one problem with that. This floppy baby is how I'm supposed to learn them. You see, these floppy babies are great for learning other techniques, but not so great for reflexes. You see, I put my finger in its palm. Does it grasp it? No, it doesn't. We need a better tool. Reflexes are complex because they have an expected age of onset, an expected stimulus, and an expected response and expected age of integration. So we need something better. BabyFlex then steps in to fill this gap in academia, not only for occupational therapy students, but for all healthcare students. BabyFlex is threefold. It is an informative website. It is a mobile application that allows you to view an infant and its movements in a three-dimensional, full circle way, as well as a corresponding doll that looks like a baby, moves like a baby, and feels like a baby with appropriate reflexes. Thank you for your time.
Can you tell us about challenges students have had interacting with the current baby?
Yes, so this baby is intended for like posturing and like NDT principles, which is like how we can help like move the pelvis. So that's how like the floppiness is like appropriate. But for reflexes, like I would stroke the side of their cheek and it doesn't move. So learning those things like the age of onset, the integration age, what causes the reflex or the stimulus, and then what the response is, which is the reflex, that's really hard to learn from something like this. And other than this, we have textbooks and notes, and that's it. So that's why I wanted to create something that was more inclusive.
My wife and I are expecting a daughter in June, and I'm
Well,
having
congratulations.
minor panic attacks thinking about it. Oh God, what if she's not reflexing properly?
It's okay.
And so that's, I guess, my question about in terms of, does this have applications for new parents? Do you see a market beyond just kind of academia?
Absolutely. So this started because I fell in love with the NICU, which seems kind of unrelated, but like children that experience the NICU and like have a traumatic birth experience or something, they often have reflex issues later in life. And you have like a new parent who is new to this whole world. They want to know what to look for. So my hope with the mobile application and the website is that it would carry over to like hospitals and parents. It would be something affordable and accessible to them, whereas the corresponding doll would serve the more purpose in academia. And my big hope is that the doll would connect to the app, but that's a lot of money and a lot of time down the road.
And just speaking on those things, on your different products, how did you come, have you designed a doll? Because you mentioned the website, the app, and a doll.
Yes.
You kind of put pen to paper with what that doll would look like?
Yes, so I want the doll to look like an actual baby. First of all, have a face, because you can't even tell what the front and back is. And then my hope is that it would be able to be Bluetooth or censored, kind of like with simulations, like the mannequins. But that's all out of my wheelhouse, so I'm learning. And so it would just respond like a normal baby would and be able to teach students, not just in OT, but just that need to know this. That way they can treat their patients and see it on a real life, on a simulated baby that actually looks like a baby. But the application, I know you asked about the doll, but in our anatomy class, if you're not familiar with the OT department, we spend a semester in the cadaver labs and in the dry labs learning the human body. And we had an app there that you could view arm flexion and you could see it. And that is where my idea for the app and doll kind of came together. And I was looking for something like that to learn reflexes. I couldn't find it. Thank you. I wasn't expecting so many people to be out here, so I was like, but I felt good. I'm not a businessy person, so I was not expecting to win. So I'm happy, but surprised. What's next is I have a doctoral capstone next spring, so I will work on getting the copyright and patent for it with this money here in the next year, and then I will start actually actively planning it in the spring.
That's this edition of Mocs News. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to keep up with us on our Facebook page.
We are also on Twitter and YouTube. Have a great summer, UTC.
And we'd like to thank all and congratulate all the seniors that are graduating in the class of 2022, as well as UTC Mocs News, Dana and Mark. Have a good weekend and a good summer.